Hello,
Hello,
welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Andy,
and I'm Joe.
and we are here for...
This.
Oh, you can actually see something this time, whereas usually we're just pointing at a vague sign.
No, we are here for Beyond Van Gogh, or Van Gogh.
Oh, don't start that. No, that could be an entire discussion in itself, really.
It could. It is an immersive art. So it's Van Gogh, but without any of the actual Van Gogh
It's a
pictures.
digital installation.
Digital installation. There you go. That's why you're here. You're the brains.
Oh, thanks. That's the only reason I'm here.
It's a digital installation of the artwork of Vincent Van Gogh, and it's that basically sums it up.
You'll see.
So we're gonna go and see some Van Gogh immersiveness.
Yep. Let's take you right to it.
So it's a couple of days later and we're back home now.
Hello.
We We just thought we would give you our thoughts on...
Honest opinions, I think, is probably going to be the best description of it.
It was all right.
It was a solid okay.
I think I expected more immersion. Like, there was a little bit of build-up with details about Van Gogh's life. But even though it was timed entry, I felt like we were very much in almost like a production line.
Yeah.
Of like moving along like a train of people.
Yeah, because once we got through the sort of ticket barriers, it was just like a queue. Everyone was treating it as a queue, even though when you get to the later set, it's just an open space that you can just go into. But everyone was queuing through these sort of informational boards section.
Yeah, and they had a lot of information in those boards, so it was taking quite a while for people to read them. Then there were quite a few children just running around the boards as well. And then once we got into the immersive bit, it was just a giant room. And I personally had expected it to be immersive rooms based around the different pieces of artwork or the different periods.
So you mean like, I can't remember who it was that we saw at the Tate Modern in Liverpool, in London. I can't remember the exhibition, but we got a little clip of it. Whatever her name was, I cannot remember. Pop it up on the screen. But yeah, that had separate rooms with sort of interactive experiences in it, and I agree. I was thinking exactly the same.
So I thought there'd be like the sunflowers room, and you'd go in, and it would be immersive of the sunflowers, and instead it was just a giant room where I don't think they went high enough with the fabrics for projecting onto, so there was never really, I didn't feel immersive because I didn't have to look up very far, and I'm only 5'3", so I'm not exactly super tall, but I didn't have to look up very far to see the scaffolding that was keeping it all together. And then all it did was basically play like a 30-minute loop of different Van Gogh pieces that they came to life in, like, Van Gogh was blinking in some of the self-portraits, and it was nice. It just
didn't have much pizzazz. as bad a word it is to describe that, but I
think from the pictures that I'd seen, I was expecting to have small rooms where you could sit on the floor and spend like 10-15 minutes per artwork fully immersed with the artwork being all around you. And instead it was an open space with a lot of people in it, not enough seating for anyone who had any mobility issues. And it kind of became a playground because people were just letting...
all the walls were fabric that they were projecting on, so the kids were just running up into them and just knocking them, and then obviously because the projectors were set to a specific distance, then they would blur and go out of shape and stuff, and it was just, I wouldn't say chaos, but it was not serene as probably as what they imagined it to be. I'm sure during the presses it was beautifully serene, as it was nice and quiet, but as soon as you put some families in there, it wasn't. So
and they're just, because it was essentially like a giant open space, kids were just doing laps, so you couldn't even really move to look at different areas or to try and sit in different areas, and by sit I mean like literally on the floor, because they're just, you'd take a step and suddenly you're like about to be taken out by a small child. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't like it.
It was okay. For me, it was that the projectors were just using normal LED projectors, so on the scale of what they were projecting, they didn't actually they weren't that bright. So it looked all just a bit faded, like, when you're in school and they were projected onto the wall type of that's
Yeah, where they'd like wheel. I'm showing my age. Wheel in the OHP projector.
Oh, get the old OHP out. But yeah,
that kind
it
of...
was that side of thing where I was expecting, that it's going to be, the way they were saying it's going to be immersive and colourful. I was thinking, are they rolling out some laser projectors? Again, adding into it's going to be a much smaller space, and they would use laser projectors to make it like pop. And it wasn't. So, bit disappointment on that. And also, disappointment didn't just finish there. As we went out into the shop. And there was some great items, but a lot of items are sold out.
And we were I think we were the first Saturday of this exhibition opening. So either they didn't have stock because it hadn't arrived in time.
True, they didn't have a stock, or they may have not missed the delivery or something, we don't know. But...
Yeah. I was disappointed that you couldn't get, this is very specific, a magnet that said Beyond Van Gogh, Liverpool, or even just Beyond Van Gogh.
Yeah, something with the exhibition on it.
All you could get was a magnet of Van Gogh's face. Cool. I've got that from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I wanted something that was unique to that exhibition.
You love a unique gift, don't you, from an exhibition?
I do. I am very much a fan of the traditional rainbow rubber that you used to get in every English Heritage and National Trust property when we were kids.
Yep.
And a magnet that is specific to a location or an event.
Yep.
But it has to say it on. I don't want it just...
Yeah, you don't want something generic. I mean, I get it that they probably don't want it to say, like, oh, Liverpool.
And then they're stuck with 1,000. But
yeah, that they don't sell. But just having... Because we suspect... Is this a touring exhibition or not?
It's definitely been in Salford, and I've seen a review of it for being in, like, Belgium or somewhere random.
Yeah, so... Why?
Well, yeah, you could put Beyond Van Gogh. You don't have to specify Liverpool, but I'd have known I'd seen it in Liverpool, and I'd have been happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I don't think it was worth I think we paid £29 per...
£29 per person.
Yeah, and I don't think it was worth that.
Definitely not worth that.
I think had it been £10 per person, I'd probably have a different opinion of it and probably be like, do you know what, that was all right for the price, but given how much it was, just...
And also, it was our first true experience of the Liverpool Exhibition Centre or the Liverpool Conference Centre. I can't remember what they call it specifically.
It's Exhibition Centre.
Yeah, so it was our first time actually going to a proper show there. Because...
Somebody doesn't remember all the wedding fairs they got dragged to.
Oh, right, okay. We went to a wedding fair there. Okay, that's different. But, okay, a ticketed event there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Not great managed. Not managed well, I think is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah.
So they gave us a timed entry. We turned up for the time, and then we got shoved away.
Yeah, so on the ticket it said that you had to arrive at for your timed entry 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Now we were, 5 minutes before?
Something like that, yeah.
And they wouldn't let us go and join the queue to go in. And said, well, no, it's not your ticketed entry time yet. And I was like, but you've told us to get here before the timed entry. Then it was about 5 minutes after the timed entry. Somebody shouted and was like, you should all be going. As though we were supposed to know that you were now letting us through. And then there were just, we were maybe the third or fourth people through from our timed. And we walked in and instantly we were hit with all the people who were from the last one. So they weren't staggering the timed entries enough to actually make it that people were moving through.
It felt like that they were missing a person to sit at the end of that sort of informational section to sort of count people out. And then at the front they could say, let people in. Because it was just a queue straight through the entire section. And that way they didn't have to be too forceful on the entry times. They could just let people queue up and then enter them in one at a time as they're going through. It just felt like they were putting these blockers of entry times in just so they could get people going to the little food court and bar section there. Yeah. Because all that happened was they got knocked back from the timed entry, and then they would just stand around in this area until they were allowed through, which they were just like, oh, grab a drink or grab something to eat. Of course, it was massively overpriced for what it is.
Yeah, and when the
it's an
tickets are
exhibition thing.
specifically saying that you have to be there like 15 minutes before your timed entry.
Pick one or the other.
Yeah.
We've either got to be there on time, or it's a thing of you can't be let in until the time has passed. Then we wouldn't have bothered getting there for that time. We would have gone past the time and gone, okay.
We were actually sat next door in the Pullman in the bar having a drink.
Yeah.
And went, oh, well, we need to move now because we're supposed to be there 15 minutes before and it's already 10 minutes into that, so I suppose we best go.
Yeah.
And we didn't need to.
Didn't need to rush over, and there was only that one food area and then a smattering of chair and tables, which was funny because most of the tables and chairs were behind the section for entry, so you couldn't actually get to most of the tables and chairs.
Yeah, you could get a drink and you could get food, but if you wanted to sit down to have it, tough.
Nah, not happening. So
yeah, I also as well don't think it was particularly well signposted, because there were people constantly trying to enter through the exit for the actual doors to the venue, not the where the ticketed bit is to get into the exhibition, just the actual venue.
And people trying to get into the main Liverpool arena as well, thinking it was in there, because that's more of a general thing, because I don't think that convention centre's signposted properly.
No, it's not.
So everyone thinks it's the arena and then tries to get in, which had Girls Aloud, was it, or something like that in there. So there's lots of angry security people as people trying to get in through the doors at the side.
This is kind of turning into a bit of a negative rant, so the last thing I'm going to say is the toilets were not particularly clean. They weren't great.
It's not really anything to do with the exhibition, though. It is just with the...
No, that's just with the exhibition centre.
Yeah.
But, yeah, not the cleanest of toilets. So, overall,
Anyway,
not my favourite.
It's a meh, but...
Will I rush back if it comes on tour nearby again? No.
No.
Am I happy that we went? I guess, yeah.
It was interesting, but not worth the money. I mean...
It's an interesting concept that wasn't executed very well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most succinct I've ever been on a review ever.
So we're leaving it there, I think.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more reviews from exhibitions and museums and theatre.
And complaining about toilets.
And complaining about toilets, maybe. Across the M62 corridor between Liverpool and Manchester, then hit the subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.